Good morning, my dear gamers. Mashu here, and yeah, I just want to skip straight to the biscuit. As of me recording this video, yesterday was the Nintendo Switch 2's launch day. In order to celebrate the hype, I wanted to review it and give my first impressions on the console and Mario Kart World. Before you ask, yes, we did get a pre-order in the same day that the system actually launched, so I'm a bit lucky, even though I got my system a little bit late in the day. I do want to say that we also did pre-order a Pro Controller, but I'm not going to mention it too much in this review because A, it was supposed to be a gift from my dad, and B, even when we did unbox it, I wasn't the one that used it a lot. I mainly focused on using the JoyCon 2 controllers in order to play. So for now, we're just gonna leave it aside. This review is also differently structured. We're gonna focus on the system first, and then do a bit of a montage with Mario Kart World, and we'll call it a day. So it's gonna be longer. So hold on to your butts, as we're gonna use some sequel power. Let's start with what you get inside a Nintendo Switch 2 Mario Kart World bundle. You get a booklet of health and safety information that nobody reads. You get 2 cables worth of spaghetti, an HDMI cable and the power cable. The power cable is actually built a little bit differently. You get the brick part, which is kind of like a phone charger, and then you get the cable separately. It's no longer always connected to the brick by default. And the cable is a USB-C to USB-C connection. Good. You get 2 JoyCon 2 straps, one neon blue and one neon red. They're exactly the same straps, just differently colored in order to match the designs. You get a JoyCon 2 grip. I've used this thing way too much and I love it. You get a Switch 2 dock. You get 2 JoyCon 2 controllers, one left and one right. The left one is colored neon blue, while the right one is neon red. You get the Switch 2 itself. What a lovely piece of tech. And exclusively for the bundle, you get a full game digital download code for Mario Kart World. It's basically a little piece of paper with a little thing you have to scratch off with a coin in order to get your 16-digit code. Now when I said exclusive, that's kind of a lie because you can't just get digital codes in America or something in a store, but the paper design is different, so it has that going for it. I do know of some bundles that do actually have the game pre-installed and don't have the game via a download code though. Let's get into actually using the JoyCon 2 controllers. Now I don't have my Switch OLED with me anymore as I left it in another part of the apartment, but I can say that when I did compare these right next to each other, these JoyCons are quite a fair bit big. Nintendo said that one of the major upgrades was the bigger analog sticks. But now that the JoyCons are bigger, every button is bigger actually, as a matter of fact. For now the big changes is that, yeah, the analog sticks are definitely bigger. The release button on the back is different. Instead of being a small button, it's now kind of like a release thing with a little bit of plastic because now everything is connected by magnets. And the SL and SR buttons are a bit longer. You will note that on the rail there's now a section in order to connect to the console, and also a little square which is for the mouse controls. We'll talk about that later on. On the right side JoyCon 2, you get the same improvements, but now with an extra button. Under the home button, you get to see a brand new C button, which is used in order to activate game chat. We'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. Looking a bit closer in the new grip, I do like how the insides are actually color matched in order to match the neon colors, and also have the signs of minus and plus in order to know which side is correct. But like I mentioned earlier, these are now connected by magnets. Instead of having a quiet click, everything now has such a loud plunk to it. It gives you a little bit of force when you're trying to do this actually. It's kind of scary. Here's how the release button can actually work a bit. Overall, a good grip. Let's talk a little bit about the strap. In my opinion, the strap actually has more changes than the grip. You connect it from the bottom instead of from the top. You have to then secure it into the top. You can see how it can release. And the strap doesn't really cover the whole rail. It just kind of sits on the rail and kind of finishes the pattern. So this time you actually have free access to the sync button. I'll take any W that I can get. Moving on to the new dock, it's built very similar to the Switch OLED dock because it has a removable part on the back. There you have your regular ports, including USB-C, HDMI, and the LAN port. You don't get 3 USB ports unlike the first Switch. It's pretty much the OLED dock, just with a new design and an extra fan. The Switch 2 can get pretty hot and toasty during long play sessions, so that fan and dock mode is actually quite a good idea. Here's the console itself. Just like the grip, it also has color matched sides on the inside. And on the top we have an extra USB-C port. So now both the top and bottom have USB-C ports. The kickstand is a little bit different. Instead of moving half of the back of the console, it just does a little thin plastic rail. I don't know if I can call this an upgrade or not, so I'll let you guys decide in the comments. That's what the comments are made for in the first place. With all of that settled, let's transition straight into the software. The speakers on this can actually go a fair bit loud. Here I removed one of the JoyCon 2 controllers and added in a strap in order to show you the mouse controls. As you can see, if you lay it in that position and start to use the R button as like a left click and use the analog stick as like a scroll wheel, you can use the whole thing as a mouse. It even shows a mouse cursor on the screen. I currently have no games that could benefit out of the mouse controls currently, but scrolling through the eShop is actually very nice. It gives me the impression that I'm actually using Steam a little bit. It's a good time to mention performance. The eShop, the NSO app, and other things load hella fast and smooth on this console. It loads everything instantly, I swear. No joke, Mario Odyssey Kingdoms took like 2 seconds to load. I tested it. Kingdom Battle $10, look at that. By pressing the new C button, it brings out the game chat menu. Imagine game chat like Skype or Discord. It's basically like a whole voice call thing, where you can have up to 12 friends in one voice chat, and 4 people can share their screen at once. In order to set up, game chat does require your phone number, and you obviously cannot call with randoms. You can only do so with friends. So this option is kind of useless to me, but it's here in case any trusted friends buy a Switch 2. Here's some of the accessibility options. You can make the text size bigger, you can have bold text which kind of looks like an iPhone, and you can enable a text-to-speech voice in order to read out the text.
System settings. Voice type. Text-to-speech speed. 103%. Voice type. Accessibility. Home menu. System settings. Tetris 99. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD.
The album has some neat updates. The NSO mobile app has been renamed to the Nintendo Switch app, and with this new version of the gallery, you can upload screenshots or videos straight into that app, and then you can go into the app and download the videos straight from there. You can even upload multiple files in the background, and the system has an upload queue, so you can see how many files are uploading at the same time. I used this feature in order to show you most of the Mario Kart footage later on. Here's a couple more things, including the microphone. The console itself has a system microphone that you're able to test out. Please subscribe so you can get a free cookie or something, I don't know. Please subscribe so you can get a free cookie or something, I don't know.
Nice of the princess to invite us over for a picnic, eh, Luigi? Nice of the princess to invite us over for a picnic, eh, Luigi?
Jesus Christ. In terms of TV resolutions, the Switch 2 can now be played in 4K. Now, the TV in my own room only supports up to 1080p, so I wasn't able to play during most of my time with a 4K resolution, but I did test it out in the living room in the 4K TV, and it looks great. In terms of internal storage, there's not 32GB or 64GB. The Switch 2 has 256GB of internal storage on board. It may not seem like a lot when there's 1TB phones out there, but this is quite impressive if I do say so myself. Even after doing a system transfer from my Switch OLED, downloading Mario Kart World, downloading the GameCube thing, and making I don't know how many clips, I still have 50GB left. One downside is that you cannot use the regular microSD cards in order to expand your storage. You can use it for the system transfer in order to transfer over your clips, but regular storage, no. Like it says right there, you need microSD express cards. They are way better at transfer speeds, basically. So if you play a lot of the massive games like Cyberpunk or something, get an express card. It's the best thing you can do. Now I mostly mentioned features that I can't quite try, mostly because of budget reasons. But you know something we can try? Let's do some old-fashioned Mario Kart. Yep, that's it. 10 out of 10 game of the year right here. This game is awesome. No joke, Mario Kart World blew me away when I was trying it out. The game is simply beautiful and everywhere full of life wherever you go. Not to mention that it runs and loads fast. Out of everything that I've tried right now, I think my favorite mode is either versus race or the free roam. I tend to come back to free roam mode a lot of times during my gameplay sessions. The P-switch missions in this mode also surprised me quite a bit. They get pretty creative with the concepts, but I mostly did versus race in order to do 3-lap races on most of the tracks. Don't get me wrong, Grand Prix is still a joy to play, especially with a buddy. I recommend that, because versus race is more suited to a single playing field. And please just look at how seamless this transition is. Bro, that was like nothing. This is, without a doubt, one of the best games that I've ever played. Like I said earlier, it may not seem like much to most people, but this is just everything to me. What else can I say that hasn't been said by anybody else? The controls feel great, the OST slaps and needs to be put on Nintendo Music ASAP, the wall riding is actually really useful, the character roster is expansive, and the new costumes are a nice benefit. And the big open world feel to this game is just amazing. I can just jump into this game, screw around for half an hour, and never be bored. I can wake up 10 AM first thing in the morning, open up free roam, start as the cow, and go into Airship Fortress with open pass. I freaking love this game. So with all of that settled, that's the Nintendo Switch 2 in a nutshell. Needless to say, I love this system. In terms of the final thoughts and star ratings, well, there's only one real way that I can explain the final thoughts, and it's with this tweet by Stealth. Let's read it. Switch 2 hardware impressions. It's a Switch but better. Controller, Switch Pro controller, but better. Easy setup / data transfer. eShop actually works the way it's supposed to. There isn't much more to say. As a fan of Switch, I got what I wanted. And you know what? Well said, Stealth. Very well said. In my words, I got a Nintendo Switch sequel that runs games, and even more. And it does a darn good job at that. The best way that I can explain the Switch 2 with all of its speed is gaming on demand. Like, you need the power in your hands. And this is basically the definition of it, in my opinion. You've more than likely expected this, but the Switch 2 is getting a full star. And you know what? What the heck? I haven't played Mario Kart World for too long, but it too is also getting a full star. I hope you all really liked this video as much as I did making it, and I hope everyone has a really fun time with this system, because I know for a fact someone out there is gonna really enjoy it. Well, I'm gonna keep grinding and rail grinding in free roam for a longer while, so see you guys next time. Bye bye!